Joining everyone. I'm super excited. We're going to do a series, I think. So, we're going to start kind of from the very beginning of things. And the focus of these is really going to be how the brain works with psychology, with trading psychology. So, we're calling it psychology basically around trading, but I want to get everyone on the same page around how the brain operates so that you know what's going on with your body. I don't know if I've ever I have a background in this stuff and I still don't know any other career that makes you self-reflect and learn and try and grow from it than trading does. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way, but holy cow, do your flaws really get wilded up. So, um yeah, it's a totally a mirror for real. Um, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give just like a little bit of education first, and then we'll all start and just kind of discuss and chat and such. So the neuroscience behind all of this is we talked about it. I think you put it in the schedule, right? Around fight, flight, or freeze. And let me talk a little bit about the science behind that. So there is there's like a function of your brain that controls and regulates emotions and thoughts and behaviors. Does anyone know what that's called? Just offhand, the part of the brain that controls all that stuff? No, you don't know it yet. Maybe you do. You might. I don't know. So that part of the brain is called the prefrontal cortex. Is that what you thought it was? No. So the prefrontal cortex is the front part of your brain. So think of that as like your thinking brain. And it helps you to regulate your emotions behind your thinking. But sometimes what happens is when you have any sort of perceived threat, there is something in your brain. There's a little almond shaped piece of matter in your brain that controls your fight, flight, or freeze. Some people call it the reptilian brain. Um, Otherwise, this is the one that you know. Do you remember?
I sure do. It's called. I don't know. It's right there. It's in that. It's in that. Right?
So it's called the amygdala, or
Yeah.
as I like to say it, the Amy G. Dalla.
Let's go. I called it.
So the amygdala, when it has a perceived feeling of threat, what it does is it tries to protect you. And it protects you by doing either fight, flight, or freezing. So it fights back, or it retreats, or it just freezes in place. So when we are trading and we have many of our psychological moments, then what's happening is that our brain is trying to protect us in those moments. And so it reacts in some way, shape, or form. So, having said all of that, I want you guys to just take a few moments and reflect and think about when you are trading, what could potentially be some of your triggers where you might enter fight, flight, or freeze? What are some potential triggers? And you can write those in the chat. Greed, unclear bias can set you into that. Absolutely, Tanya. Okay, oddly specific, Bert. Thank
Okay,
you.
Bert. Okay, Bert.
Yep, choppy PA. Fear of losing for sure. Any other things that might kind of trigger that feeling of you need to fight, you need to flee, you maybe just freeze up? Gaining back losses. Simon, what happened? Can you give an example? Oh, PTSD from a previous trade. That's a good one too. Instant death candle stopped after waiting 4 hours for a setup. Totally. Totally. Yeah. 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 Simon, what happened with you? I'm super curious. Had a 15-second long. I was stalling around equilibrium of the range, so I closed it early. Yeah. That's an absolutely really good example of fleeing. And it ended up hitting, of course. Yep. Yeah, fear of giving back profits. That's a big one for me, for sure. Greed and fear of giving back profits are my main triggers, for sure. Yeah, that's almost, Simon, that's the kind of recouping your losses. That's almost like what Oksana was saying about kind of PTSD from a previous trade. Like you keep on thinking about that last trade or last week and you want to make up those losses.
Can I chime in for a sec?
Of course. Let me mute you or mute myself.
One for me that is kind of a really interesting one, but one for me is expanding a little more on fear of losing. Fear of losing because of the way you know how you respond after losing. And so, like, for me, it's like I've had losses before where that loss has triggered me to like revenge trade and blow the account. And so then next time I'm like, bro, if I lose, am I going to do the same shit? You know, like, am I going to do the same thing? Like, if I take that loss, is that what's going to happen? Yeah. And so that is what messes with me sometimes because I'm like, bro, as good as my discipline is, I always know there's that there's that one play that will trigger me and just make me lose it. And so like sometimes that is in the back of my head before I even get in a play, and that's toxic because it prevents me from taking good plays because I'm like I have that little worry in the back of my mind that's like, dude, if this doesn't work, are you going to get pissed? You know what I mean? Like if this doesn't work, you're going to spiral. If this doesn't work, you're going to get mad. And so like that combines so many different things for me, like the fear of losing. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on that.
No, that's totally valid. And I've seen you have that fear and freeze from even entering the trade.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we're gonna delve into just a little bit today is talking about what are some of the initial things that we can do to combat that just at the very beginning. So before we even get into some specifics, what I want to ask you all to do is write down the number one kind of thing that causes you to do what it is that you do. So let me give an example. I tend to get greedy, and so I'll take more than one trade a day because I think I'm going to create generational wealth in one day. And so it creates that fight response in me. And so I want to fight for it. I'm going to fight for it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to keep on trading. I'm going to go for it. So type in your one thing that you are most subject to when trading. So think about trading psychology. What's the thing that you fall prey to most often? Yeah. Pride in being wrong, FOMO and over trading. Totally. Just seeing people typing, so I want to see what else people come up with. Fairly into it. Revenge trading, like bad revenge trading. Yeah, still working on it. That one takes time for sure. Yeah, payroll when we get crazy rips and it goes without you. For sure. So frustrating. Now change to losing, then revenge. Or yeah. You have to hold out on the urge to revenge trade for sure. Yeah. Cool. So focusing in on your thing. So, oh wait, let me see. Not this thing. So not seeing the cons. Oh, you only see the pros and not the cons. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know if that would.
Do not be a quadrillionaire if that was what my mind said. If I was never worried about the loss, bro, and just was like, yeah, is this gonna work no matter what? Oh my god, I wish.
So I wouldn't say that that's necessarily a psychology issue. I would say that that's more just knowing your trade setups and knowing your strategy a little bit more in depth. I guess it's a bright and shiny thing. You just want to get in. But I don't know that there's a psychological response necessarily there. So interesting. That might be a good one. So what I want you to do is think about the thing that triggers. He has a positivity issue. So what I want you each to do is think about your thing. Think about the one thing that triggers you most or that you're most susceptible to, and try to figure out, is it a fight response? Is it a flight response? Is it a fight? Is it a flight? Or is it a freeze? So think about that. Is yours a fight, flight, or a freeze response in your brain? Do you think? What do you think it is? Freeze. We've got freeze. We've got fight. Fight for more. Yeah, fight.
Like I'm okay when it comes to fight. Like I am really, really, really actually my stronger suit is probably walking away when I know it's time to walk away. The biggest issue for me is definitely freeze, for sure. Like for sure, it's freeze.
Yeah, and actually we're gonna use you as an example. So that's perfect. Yeah, so Nate says freeze, Mariano says fight. Yeah. So using, sorry, you guys, I can't call him Oksano here. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm trying.
It's fine.
So what Anthony has done and is doing is he has been over the past year plus has been really working on self-awareness. And in all honesty, the absolute number one cure to all of this, to fight, flight, or freeze, to your amygdala being quote unquote hijacked in the moment, is to be self-aware. And that's the thing that takes the most amount of time to recognize in the moment. So it's super, super easy. I hope. Oh yeah, Tanya. It's a combination of his last and first name. So it's super, super easy. And I think that you would all agree that it's easy to recognize once we've walked away, right? Like we walk away and we're like, oh man, I totally got FOMO, or I totally revenge traded that. And we can think about it. It's super, super easy to do it, even 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, super easy an hour later, right? But in the moment is when it is the absolute most difficult thing to do. So, and I'm going to ask you a question after you're done typing. So, you just talked about walking away, but how do you know in the moment to walk away?
Oh, man. To be honest, it's very, very like subtle clues. So if I start getting irritated, like if I'm watching price action and it's making me get irritated, I already know my mindset is not in a good place. Like what am I irritated about? Because I'm not getting a setup right now when I want it. And so it's like that's impatience that starts. And then impatience is like the thing that flows everything else. Because then it's like the impatience turns into you start thinking about other things. Like for me anyway, it's like being impatient causes me to start thinking about stuff that doesn't matter. Like it's distracting me from just paying attention and waiting. And so like when my foot like starts tapping, and I'm like like huffing and puffing, I'm like, dude, I just need to get away from this computer because obviously this is just frustrating me and it's not doing me any good.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what you just described is a physiological clue into your brain operating. So, um, now what I want you all to do is think about, so reflect back on the last time that you had one of your psychological, I'll call them episodes for lack of a better word. So the last time that you had a psychological episode during a trade, or even thinking back over the past week, think about, if you can, picture what might have been some physiological kind of things that happened, even like while you were in it or going through it. So think about that and write that down, type it out to us. So give us your story. Uh-huh, for sure. Verbally swearing at the chart to start doing something.
Dude,
This is funny
this is
because
funny.
I bet, dude, Amy sees me go through all my stuff on a daily basis. So I feel like she would have better answers to some of these for me than I would because she actually sees it. Man, I'm curious. I bet she knows when I'm getting antsy every time. Almost guarantee it.
Does deep breathing and huffing and puffing count?
Yep, she knows, chat. She knows. She knows.
Okay, so right now, if you're just joining in, we've done a bit of an intro into fight, flight, or freeze and how your brain responds to um, psychological episodes while you're trading. And what we're thinking about is what are some of the physical things that happen in that moment for us to maybe clue ourselves into in the moment. So um, let's see, I'm just reading through. So Simon hesitated. Take stuff. Grab my headphones. Oh, yeah. So Vert threw his headphones across the room. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Hasn't tilted like that in a long time. Sat there full porting.
Wait, are you saying like physical triggers though?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like what happens in your body.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
think
I think. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a perfect. Okay, perfect. So Nate and Tanya, those are great. So getting up out of the chair and pacing. Tanya, I can feel the tears coming. Yep, heart racing. Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry about your headphones, Vert. Sorry about those headphones. Yeah, so Vert, you said I don't like losing, but I'm we can actually, I'll use you as an example next. Yeah, I'm similar, Tanya. So when people don't like losing, um, they chalk it up to their competitive, and I can guarantee that it's something much, much deeper. I can almost guarantee it. So, what specifically about losing? And I can use you as an example, but I'm sure most of us in here don't like losing. I don't know many people that are like, I love to lose. So, what specifically is it about losing that becomes a trigger for people? So, what do you think that it is?
I would also most of the time say that I usually chalk that up to I'm just competitive and I just am used to naturally winning at everything. So I just don't like it. I just don't like it. But in a true, deeper reality of it, all of the stuff from my past and all the stuff that I'm working on getting over right now leaks into that, because part of me tells myself that if I succeed at something or I accomplish something, that it'll make me forget about past pain and it'll make me feel better about past pain. And it's just not true. Like, it doesn't do anything.
So Mariano just said, losing causes me to doubt if I'll make it and think I have to take action in order to be back on track. 100%. 100%. Such a good one. It's so true.
Dude, let me just say one thing. Trading is just one of those things where it's like the absolute best thing you can do after a loss is stop and come back the next day. And it's the most impossible feeling in the moment to do. Because you're just like, bro, I might have took a loss, but guess what? These candles are still moving. I can press the button and get back in. I can make that all back today and not be mad anymore today. I could do that right now. Like, all these thoughts take over. Like, you know, man, the worst one for me is, lost with 6 micros. Fine, I'm in with 2 minis. We'll make that back. That's the worst one right there.
Yeah, that's the over leveraging part of things for sure. So here's where I'm going with that. One of the things that you can do in that moment when you are feeling it is exactly what Anthony was saying earlier. You have to name it in the moment. So, okay, I feel like I'm getting antsy. I feel like my brain isn't quite working in the best way possible. You have to name whatever emotion it is that you're feeling. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling pissed. I feel like a failure right now. So if you absolutely cannot name it in the moment, then you need to do more inward kind of thought processing after the fact until you can get to the fact. So if you're not journaling your emotions, if you are not writing them down after the fact, you will never be able to be in a place where you can be self-aware in the moment. So if you are not self-aware in the moment and that creates any sort of tilt, then you need to go back and make sure that you are journaling so that you can get closer and closer and closer and closer. So, oh God. Sorry, oh yeah. Yeah, K trades. He was joking. He was joking. Promise. Oh God. So, right now, what I want you all to do is just take a moment and think about the next time. So let's say this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week. If you are feeling some sort of way, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a fight response, a flight response, a freeze response. If you are feeling some sort of way, I want you to write down one thing that you can do to name that emotion in the moment. So how are you going to actually name the emotion? I'm not even going to give examples. Okay.
Also, now that she just said all that, I do realize that actually is really, really one of the things that I have been like excelling at a lot lately is literally if I start feeling anything, no matter what it is, I just identify what it is and then I stand up and walk away and then I say it to Amy out loud. And maybe I have an advantage because I have somebody here that understands what I'm going through with trading. And so I can just walk in and say, I'm feeling antsy as hell. I got to walk away for a minute. And she like doesn't like question what that means. Like she knows exactly what I'm talking about. So maybe I have an advantage because I have Amy here for that. But that's what like this community server is kind of meant for. Like if you guys are trading during the day and you're feeling something, ping somebody in here and say, yo, I'm feeling greedy and I'm struggling and I got to walk away. Just get it out. Say it out loud, you know, and then just handle what you got to do and walk away and come back. I can't tell you how many times I've literally told Amy I got to walk away and I just get up, walk away and I come back, you know, like you can come back refreshed. And just because you're feeling that way doesn't mean you have to put yourself through more or be stuck that way, you know. Saying it out loud helps identify it, and it helps me do something to combat it other than be stupid on the chart. Because now I'm away from my computer and there's nothing I can do besides just vent, get my emotions out, and move on from it.
Yep. So sorry. So Simon, you're writing down how specifically you're gonna respond in the moment when you notice that you're either getting antsy or frustrated or whatever. How are you going to capture that you are feeling some sort of way? So yes, Tanya, saying it out loud helps to release it, identify it for sure. Yes, you can absolutely grab a pillow and scream into it 100%. So the biggest thing that you guys can do in the moment is what's called pause. Um, and that pause can be writing it down. It can be standing up, walking away. It can be spinning in your chair. I don't care. You find something that works for you, but that pause has to be a minimum of 5 minutes. So, whatever that pause looks like, it has to be 5 minutes. So, identify it and pause. Identify it and pause. And then over this next week, what I want you guys to do is, and I don't, I don't know, we have a psychology channel, don't we, somewhere? Or psychology section. Um, Nate, usually it's usually 5 minutes gives your brain time to refocus on something else. So it gives you that time and that space to be able to reflect and not feel the emotions so heavily. There are some people that it's really difficult to regulate their emotions. So it takes longer than 5 minutes. But 5 minutes is usually the bare minimum that even the most advanced of advanced people need to be able to emotional damage prevention.
There's your chill. Pain when needed.
So over the next week in that channel, write down when you have felt the emotion. So like when you're physically feeling it, what you're saying out loud, you can say to us, to all of us in here, and then what you're doing. So are you going for a walk? Are you spinning in your chair? Are you taking a shit? Maybe I don't need to know that, but what is it that you're doing to be able to take that pause or take that space from that moment of fight, flight, or freeze? So really all that we're doing for week 1 is trying to regulate that emotion, identify and regulate it. Identify and regulate it. In future sessions, we're going to do deep dives into like greed, FOMO, overtrading, freezing, all of that stuff. So we'll have a session on each of those. But for this week, it's all about identification and pause, identification and pause. Does that make sense to everyone? Kind of where we're going with all of this? Yeah, payroll, that's a big one. So like if we are feeling like we're wasting time with trading and having self-doubt, then that's immediately going to put our brain into feeling like there is a threat to us. And that threat response is what we're trying to regulate. We're trying to regulate feeling the threat into actual reality. So in future sessions, we're going to talk about that a whole lot more. Yeah, Simon, most of us are bad at identifying our emotions. It takes a little bit of work. That's the hard part.
I'm pretty sure for 1 week we have scheduled imposter syndrome, so
Oh, yeah, we do.
that'll be a really good one for that.
Okay, well, I kind of want to keep these a little bit more like short and sweet and just like bite-sized snackable. Um, but for now, you have your homework. Let's use each other. Ping me if you need in the moment. That's totally fine. We are all going through this. I am a very firm believer that if you cannot get your psychology dialed in, it doesn't matter how great your strategy is, you'll fail. So you've got to have psychology dialed to be able to be consistently profitable. So that's why we're focusing on all of this. I love this stuff. I want to help myself. I want to help everybody else. So the more that we can all do together, the better this will be. Yeah, D, they'll be recorded. Yeah, for sure. Any other, before we kind of close things down, any other requests for psychology topics that you don't see that Anthony put up above? Anything else that you guys would want to make sure that we cover or deep dive into? If so, let us know. We can make sure that we add to it as we go along in this whole journey together. Yeah, Tom, thanks for joining so late. I know it's late for most of you guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for joining, Simon. We're not going to be talking about supplements. Sorry. Oh, yeah, Mariano, that's a really good one. So, evals and rushing trades, just like rushing in general, and how that can affect things. It's huge. Oh, yeah, we can talk about that for sure. Rushing is such a big one. Oh my gosh. It is a huge that puts us into a perceived threat state. Is feeling like we're rushing. 100%. Cool. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Super, super appreciate it. Hope you even got just like a little tiny bit out of this. And then let's see how things go in our discussions channels, and let's keep each other accountable to making sure that we're identifying things as they're happening. But thanks everyone. Really appreciate you. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye y'all. Peace.
Prepare to be pinged for your emotional check-ins. Goodbye.